This video is made for those who will recognize themselves as being Hyperboreans. And I made a previous video in which I explained that a Hyperborean was a European who became conscious of his logical, speculative essence. And he is a European who becomes possessed by the divine, which is speculative logic. And I would like to read you a few quotes from this book, The Exegesis of Philip K. He doesn't talk about the Hyperboreans, but he quotes Virgil, the Roman and Latin poet. In the fourth eclogue, he says, now a new race descends from heaven on high, in whose time the race of iron shall first cease. The race of iron is the fake existence of this world that we believe to be real because we are not yet fully awakened spiritually. And a race of gold shall arrive throughout the world. Thine own Apollo is now king. This is from Virgilius, and the purpose of cultural Hegelianism is to show you and to show myself that truth, absolute truth, divine truth, is made manifest in art, and most notably in modern pop culture, but also in ancient poetry, in religion, old and new, and in philosophy, most notably Hegel's, but which includes in itself all the post-Hegelian philosophers. And this movement of coming back into oneself after having been negated is precisely the truth of Hegel's system. And this is why it is only now that Hegel's system can become fully adequate to himself and reveal the divine truth. So here are the comments of Philip K. Dick, who had a mystical experience of being possessed by a deity, but I will explain. The immortals are now beginning to return. The actual esoteric purpose of early Christianity was for the worshippers to be possessed by their god, as with other mystery cults and religions. So the Hyperboreans are really existing people in this day and age, in this world of ours, in this being of ours, because we are one being becoming conscious of itself. And they are really existing individuals who have become or will become conscious of their own divine essence and their own eternal nature. It is a Greek God possession experience I went through. What Virgil calls immanent mind transcends each individual possession. What we will witness is the awakening, the becoming conscious of itself, of the one immanent mind, because there is only one mind. And this empirical individual that you see, when I have my best thoughts, the thoughts that I express are not my own thoughts, but they are the thoughts of the universal mind. And if you understand them, if you grasp their true meaning without paying attention to the empirical individual who pronounces the word, just focus on the meaning of the thoughts, you will understand that my thinking entity and your thinking entity, whoever you are identical. And the Hyperboreans are really existing people who have become conscious of their own divine nature, which is eternal, before the others, and their role, their purpose is to enlighten, to guide the others in their process of awakening by becoming the conscious manifestation of the immanent divine mind, the one cosmic mind, if you will, which is actually Hegel's logical idea. And that's why I said in my previous video that in the mystical experiences of the Hyperboreans, the being possessed by the deity is actually being possessed by a logical, speculative unity. And he says, each of us is a piece of the universe. Each of us has inside him a spark of that universal mind. The Orphics in Greece were the first known group to express this idea, and the entire collection of mystery cults was seeking to find ways of bringing out or anyhow contracting that spark of divinity within. The Hyperboreans are really existing people who have become conscious of the divine spark within them, and the divine, what is mysterious or mystical, is what is speculative. It's a logical unity of opposites where the difference between self and world, subject and object, me and you, time and eternity collapse. So the notion of time is transcended in a speculative experience. And what I want to share in this video are a list of songs whose words are the manifestation of the European spirit. In Hegel's system, pop culture, in my system actually, it's not my system, it's Hegel's system becoming conscious of itself, but it doesn't matter. Pop culture is the manifestation of absolute spirit, which is absolute truth, divine truth, to himself, and it enables to become conscious of itself in the form of modern art. And I will list a few songs which speak the truth about the spiritual essence of Europeans. And if you are in a Hyperborean mode, if you listen to the song, which I encourage you to do, it is very likely that if you have had the intellectual development, you will find yourself, your own mind, reflected in these songs, and it will guide you through the dark and through the process of awakening. So the first song is Hey Brother by Avicii or Avicii. There's an endless road to rediscover, because we are an eternal, infinite being which forgets his own infinity and dismembers himself and remembers himself. We have always done this, and we will always do it, because that's what we are. Not as empirical, mortal, finite creatures, but as thinking minds and living souls. We are a spiritual kingdom, and we must bring about the full consciousness of the awakening of this kingdom. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Hey brother, do you still believe in one another? What if I'm far from home? Home in the art, in poetry and music, home means to be one with God. What if I am separated from God? Will you help me? Will I help you? Oh brother, I will hear your call. Then, Waiting for Love by Avicii. Where there's a will, there's a way. Kind of beautiful. And every night has its day, so magical. So the song means, don't be afraid of the dark, or you can be afraid because it is fearful and scary, but have faith in the light of the eternal sun, which will guide you through the dark and through the night to the rising sun, the Sol Invictus, the eternal principle of all cognition. And if there's love in this life, there's no obstacle that can't be defeated. Love is not an emotional affect. Love is an intellectual principle, which Spinoza called amor intellectualis Dei, which is a full understanding of otherness as being equal with the self. When you fully understand someone, an other mind, when you see yourself reflected in the thoughts of an other mind, you fall in love because you recognize your unity in duality with this other mind, and this is spiritual love. We are one of a kind, irreplaceable. How did I get so blind and so cynical? How did this infinite being of which we are part become blind and cynical to the point of forgetting its true spiritual nature? How did we forget? That's a long story. But the Hyperboreans are the product of the attempt brought in the political realm of negating Europeans by replacing them. And this negation has forced Europeans to question themselves about their identity and to go through the process which I call the phenomenology of the European mind. And by going through different phases of intellectual development, of searching for their true identity, the most active, intelligent, courageous have found their identity in paganism or in European ancestral spirituality, and they will become, if you are watching this, you will probably someday become a Hyperborean yourself. You will have found your real identity, your essential spiritual self, your unity with the cosmic mind, with the eternal sun, and the negative will have brought about the will to replace Europeans in the sphere of demographics will have brought about the consciousness of the eternal unity of spiritual brotherhood between Europeans, and which makes them irreplaceable. We can forget our identity as spiritual entities, but we cannot be replaced because we are an eternal mind thinking itself, an eternal spirit becoming conscious of itself. And all we can do is to forget and to fall in a state of sleep and darkness, but we cannot cease to be what we are. We are in an eternal process of remembering ourselves. Yeah. Then by Avicii, Wake Me Up. All this time I was finding myself. If you are watching this and understanding what I mean and listening to the songs and listen to the songs after or before the video, or you can come after it, I don't know, but the sound, the impact of the sound, the meaning, the melody, the rhythm will awaken something in you with hopefully the meaning that I bring. And you were finding yourself all this time. You were searching for your true essential spiritual identity, and hopefully you will end up remembering your own self, your own divine nature, by having gone through a process of negation, a process of spiritual movement, a spiritual journey. And the purpose of the journey was to enable you to remember your highest self, your highest identity. Then Uprising by Muse. They will not force us. They will stop degrading us. They will not control us. We will be victorious. Interchanging mind control. Come, let the revolution take its toll, the spiritual revolution. If you could flick the switch and open your third eye. The third eye is the principle of speculation or mystical insights, which thinks beyond and above opposites. A is not just A. A is B and A at the same time, while not being A and B. It's speculative consideration of things, which is the logical grasping of the essence and the true spiritual nature of things. So the third eye is mystical knowledge. You'll see that we should not be afraid to die, because when you understand that what lives through you is an eternal spirit, the life of the body becomes irrelevant, because you know that you will be eternally remembered. Your essential self will be immortal, and you will live forever in the pantheon of European gods. Then there's Knights of Sidonia, and finally Katy Perry, which says, I must stay conscious through the madness and chaos, because we will go through a very difficult phase, which is the birth of spirit, which will bring about world events which will shake the core of this spiritual being of ours. And I call on my angels, which are the Hyperboreans, to help me remember my own true identity. So it's a reciprocal process of mutual and reciprocal enlightenment, and hopefully the Hyperboreans will be there when I need them most to remember my own true spiritual essence. So that's what I could do. I will put the links to the music below, and hopefully when the time comes it will help you awaken yourself.